advice to for people within the inner high crime area. So I will begin when I begin telling you what the topic is. But today I'm going to be doing at least two videos today. I'm going to be doing two videos today. And the topic is really going to be about financial advice for people, in the hood, um, and and so forth. So I'll wait to see if I get any viewers, but that's what today is about: financial advice, basically. So as soon as I get one viewer, I will begin giving the information. Yeah. Welcome. So waiting for where are you, viewers? I know it's pretty early. People are still sleeping on a Sunday. People are like, yeah, I'm sleeping. Or I'm going to just begin soon, and then you'll have it there that you can watch in the future. Okay, so I'm going to begin. So basically, there's people in certain hoods, certain communities. They can actually begin to save money and get into wealth, get a better standard of living if they make certain types of. To me, they're simple sacrifices. Some of the sacrifices, or one of the sacrifices that I will talk about right now, is, for instance, United States Treasury bonds. United States, the U.S. government provides Treasury bonds that any person can buy. Any person can buy U.S. Treasury bonds. U.S. Treasury bonds start at $25. Treasury bond, you're guaranteed that you're going to get your money double. It can be more, but it won't be less. So some of the things that I do and recommend is for you, instead of buying cigarettes in the hood, you buy cigarettes every week, or you go to the club every week, or you're doing nails on your hair every week. You can sacrifice one of those weeks that you do your hair in the hood, or you buy the Jordans in the hood, and actually use that money and buy a U.S. Treasury bonds, I bonds or E bonds. And these bonds actually can be interest free in a lot of the situations. Interest free. The government doesn't charge taxes on the interest that you make for those bonds. So these are some of the ways that people in the hood can get out the hood. You don't have to be in the hood forever. You can have more financial stability and responsibility if you just take certain reasonable steps to protect your money. Because you're in the hood and you're not making a lot of money doesn't mean you can't secure yourself better financially. And that could be as simple as buying treasury bonds and saving up your money. So instead of going to the club every weekend like people do in the hood, instead of doing your hair every week like people do in the hood, to get out of the hood, sacrifice doing your hair instead of every 2 weeks, do it every month. Or instead of doing it every month, do it every other month, and you can save that money up and invest it into treasury bonds, basically, so that you can actually help yourself. Savings is the way that we can get out of the financial predicament that we actually were born into as poor people or as black people. Just saving. We don't have life insurance money. We don't have stocks. So you start by using what you have in a more responsible way. You can do things, again, like saving, less alcohol, less cigarette, less Jordan. Every woman, and man, but every woman has a Jordan in the hood. Like when the Jordan is out, the people that you see in the lining up for Jordans are people from the hood. That, I think a Jordan is for $250. Imagine setting aside $250 every year in treasury bonds, EE bonds or I bonds. Right now, I bonds interest rate is 5 point something percent. During the pandemic, I bonds was at 10%. interest, compound money. And EE bonds guarantee that it will be no less than double if you keep it for a certain amount of time. If you keep your EE bonds for, let's say, up to 20 years, guarantee it will be no less than double. So if you put in $10,000, you're guaranteed by the US government that your $10,000 is going to be no less than $20,000. So why would you not make the sacrifice to get that type of income? Why would you not take the steps, the responsibility? Why don't you sacrifice some of those things that you don't need? They're just things that you do, and it has no value. Why not just focus on getting better? And the other thing too, the type of friends that you keep also encourages you to waste your money. Your friends that tell you all you do is turn up, let's go turn up. That's not the friend you want. You want somebody that's going to encourage you to make some sacrifices in your life so that you can be better. Sacrifices of doing your hair less. Sacrifices of not having the Jordans every time they come out. Every time a new Jordan come out, you don't need that Jordan. You can wear regular shoes. Why are you in the hood with a BMW? Why are you living in the ghetto? Why pay extra for a name when all is just a reliable transportation so you can get around? That extra $5, $10, $20,000 that you spend, basically the extra $5,000 or $10,000 that you spend could be money that you invest in your children, buying them U.S. Treasury bonds. So you can go to a place to treasurydirect.gov and buy Treasury bonds that way, I bond or EE bonds for your children. Buy some for your children, some for you, some for your mother, some for your father, some for your brother, some for your sister, and just buy and buy every week, every Monday, or whatever day you choose. You go and you buy a $25 Treasury bond. You go and invest in yourself to give yourself and your family a chance of getting out of the hood. So I choose this location to talk about this because I want to symbolize certain things when I choose this situation to talk about this situation. Again, all you have to do is to make this necessary sacrifice that you need to make so that you can actually get someplace in life. It doesn't have to be so hard like we make it. A lot of us, we make it hard because we don't want to take the necessary steps. We don't want to exercise our rights. We don't want to, to not do our hair a week. We don't want to not do our nails a week so we can put that nail money. Imagine it's just $25 for a bond. A $25 bond turned into $75. Imagine how many $25 you can set aside every single week, 52 weeks in a year, $25. Or some people might be able to put aside $100 a week. You can set aside $100 a week, basically. So those are some of the things that you can actually do to save, make the sacrifice. Today's topic is about making sacrifices. When people, like the type of friends that you're around that want you to wear Jordans, or they frown upon you because you don't wear a name brand, that's the friend that you choose. You don't have to have that friend. If a friend is upset at you, and I sometimes get that. I've gotten situations where people look at me because I don't wear certain names or something like that, not knowing that the name that I'm not wearing means that I actually have money set aside in savings by sacrificing those things. So now when they're playing now, I'm going to be playing later and playing bigger than how they can actually play. So there is that situation where people look down on you because you don't wear certain names or certain brand. But think about the money that you can save, the money that you're investing by not wasting money on a name, on a Jordan, on a Mercedes, on a BMW. You can do more with that extra $5,000 that you're spending on names. You can put that money in your savings account and get interest. You can put that money in a in treasury bonds, in a I bond, in an EE bond, in a treasury bill, in a TIP, in a note within treasurydirect.gov. I keep preaching Treasury Direct because I like that it encourages you to save. When you put money into a treasury bond, an I bond or E bond, you can't touch it for 1 year. You could cry, you could beg, you can't get that money out for 1 year. It's impossible to take the money. A lot of people need, so it encourages them 5 years. So you can't cash it for 1 year, but then within 5 years, after the 1 year, you can cash it, but you'll pay a penalty of last 3 months interest. So your last 3 months interest would be the penalty. So you'll get, let's say you have it for a year, you'll get the interest of so you get 9 months, $50. But now because you cash it before 5 years, you're not going to get the whole 50. You may get just $40. So you just lost $10 because you cashed it too early. So it encourages you to save, because treasury bonds is the best way to save money right now for people who are not good at saving, people who actually doesn't have a lot of money to save. Again, you can save as much as $25 a day, $25 a week, $25 a month, $25 every 2 months, whatever you can afford. But the minimum is the $25 ways. Also, like have more of your cash saved, use your credit and pay the way that you can afford to pay using your credit. So I encourage you to fix your credit, have good credit, because sometimes credit is the best way for you. Not just your cash, not spending all your cash on certain things. You can actually use your credit to pay and pay back properly, especially those credit cards that for a year, they don't give you any interest. You don't pay any interest for a year, no interest whatsoever for 1 year. That's a credit card that you want to benefit from. So it's good to have good credit so that you can benefit from these types of things. You can use your credit card to pay up your bill for a year. That's a way to say card that has no interest paid back for every dollar. Whatever it is, you're getting money back from those credit cards and you're not paying interest on any purchases. So you can use whatever, $1,000 card, you use $250. And within the year, you have that $250 to pay back without interest. If you borrow $250 from a bank, you're probably going to be paying $500 for the $250 because the interest rate is ridiculously high. Let's say 21% or so. So these are ways to get to be financially better off than you are now if you only stop wasting money on name. Stop wasting money on name and save as much as you can. Save everything you can. Whatever you can save, you save. Every single thing. Just save as much as you can. The key word is save. Doesn't matter how small the amount of money that you save. Just save as much as you can. Basically. So, is there any other questions? Let me see. Do you guys have any other questions that you want to ask pertaining to Treasury bonds, U.S. Treasury bonds? Again, U.S. Treasury bonds, you can get them at treasurydirect.gov. It's a government website, which means what? Your money is secure. It's tremendously secured and protected by the U.S. government. So treasurydirect.gov, they have various types of securities. They have the I bonds, the EE bonds, they have the TIP, they have the note, and they have bonds itself. The interest rate are pretty nice, pretty decent interest rate in comparison to stocks. Stocks are risky. You can invest $1 million in a stock, and within a week, the $1 million turn into $100,000 because the stock value went down. With treasury bonds, the risk of losing money is nearly zero. The worst that can happen is that you get no interest or you get tremendously low interest. But the point is, it helps you to save what you have. Instead of spending it, because some people just spend money like crazy, they can't save, it encourages you to save as much as you can. That's the beauty about treasury bonds. for me, the benefit, the biggest benefit, it encourages people who are not able to save, because for 1 year you can't have access to that money, no matter what. For the treasury, the I bonds and the EE bonds, you don't have access whatsoever to those money for 1 year. And if you cash the bond in after a year, before the 5 years, then you're gonna pay a penalty. And the penalty is just, they're gonna take away your last 3 months of interest. They'll take that away from you. And you don't want that. When you see that interest is building, because you can sign in and you see all that interest, you see that money, you see that $200 bond now value at $750, you're going to be encouraged to leave it there. When you see that money accruing so much, you're going to want to leave it there, because the interest is going to be so beautiful that it's going to push you. It's like a game. It's going to push you to be like, let me see how long I can stay on. Let me see how long I can leave my bonds without cashing it out, because the interest is like, it's just so wonderful to watch the interest grow every month, basically. So treasury bonds is good because it encourages you to save. You don't have access to the money for 1 year. Second, there's some bonds that guarantee that it will double it will double if you keep it for 20 years. It would be no less than double if you keep it for 20 years. And then there's other bonds, like the I bonds, who gives you two interest. It gives you, one of the interest that it gives to you is a fixed interest that is determined on the day you purchase it. And then the other one is the interest in which is given to you every 6 months based on inflation, basically. So if inflation increases, then your interest increases on the I bond. So if inflation goes up, so inflation is like this: if your dollar is $1 today and tomorrow your dollar loses its value, so the dollar is no longer valued at $1, it's like 90 cents. You just lost 10 cents on your dollar because of inflation. Inflation interest from the I bond will bring your dollar to $1.10, because the dollar is no longer valued at $1, is now valued at 90 cents because of inflation. So you're going to see $1.10 in interest. And I'm using that as an example. So let's say it's $1 million. It's $1 million. Your $1 million is no longer valued at $1 million. It's valued 900,000. So because of inflation, it loses its power. So the inflation interest on the I bond will cover for the loss that you've had on your $1 million because of inflation, and bring your $1 million at $1,100,000 because of inflation, basically. So treasury bonds is important to encourage you to save. It's good interest, and it's really protected money, protected by the U.S. government. Okay, so I encourage you to start saving, start spending your money wisely, start setting aside money for your children, for yourself, for hard time. And you don't have to smoke cigarette every week, or you don't have to buy a Jordan every year. You don't have to do your nails and your hair every year. You can save money that way. You don't have a lot, just use what you have and set some aside so that you can better yourself. Basically, that's all you need to do to better yourself. All right, thank you guys for listening. I'm going to do another video later on live today about a different topic. I'm probably going to talk about immigration law. And again, thank you for listening. Thank you so much. Take care.